Hello everyone. So obviously a lot of people know me on here, but if you don't, my name is Jake Lazell channel. I have cerebral palsy on the right side. The posh word to say it, if you are a doctor or anything like that, it's right side hemiplegia. Yeah, right side hemiplegia. Anyway, the point is that it affects the muscle tone, it affects the body, so the function in many different ways. The politest way of putting it is that it affects the brain on that side, it affects the arm, so your muscle tone, which as I said earlier, with that muscle tone, it literally makes the muscle stiff and uncomfortable to the extent that it hurts. And if you're trying to stretch your muscles, it does hurt. And like walking to a certain degree, but I'm also asthmatic. So the thing is that I wanted to educate people about my own disabilities, because the best way to have that knowledge is to get someone to know about their own disabilities, because they're living with it 24/7 and 7 days a week, 365 days. The point is that obviously with cerebral palsy, it's due to a stroke in my mum's womb, and that's why the oxygen supply was cut off. And so obviously it affects the brain, so you have brain damage, and that's how I've got cerebral palsy, due to the stroke. Anyway, it also comes down to having seizures as well, so there's a few things that people don't realise. So obviously for me, I am quite independent, I love doing things, I like cleaning and stuff like that. I do struggle with certain things, like if I'm trying to hold something in the right side, so it's really difficult to show you, but with this, if I was holding, like this is easy to hold, but I can't straighten it like that. So my hand can't straighten compared to my left one, so this part literally is not able to do it. You could have Botox, which would relax the muscle, but obviously the risks are that, well, they told me the risks, which I could be paralysed, which obviously that's what I was told. This was quite a little while ago when I was at school, which I then was told by a doctor, which they referred me to a doctor. Anyway, obviously I wouldn't change my disability for the world. Yes, we all have challenges. So when I say about muscle tone, it affects the legs, it affects the whole body, it affects putting on muscle on the arms, obviously, and the bowel and everywhere else it affects, where you've got muscles pretty much. So it's also with certain things, with the brain damage, it does affect the ability to understand certain things, and some people would have to reword it, which maybe it's just me, but it's easier for me to explain it, and this is me explaining about my life and my disabilities, so that's also one thing. And with cerebral palsy, it's a massive thing to know, but for me, I'm living my life, and I don't want any pity, I don't want anything like that, because I don't take kindness to people like that, I understand that people feel sorry for that person that has a disability, but you can't change it. It's no point staging, oh, you're brave, or you're this, you're kind, like, I get the point of it, but it's kind of insulting from another point of perspective, because you can't change the disability, even though it's not a nice disability. But what is a nice disability? If a disability was nice, then I reckon everyone would be like, oh, I wish I could have that. But no, it's not the case. But with the seizure side of things, it really, for me, it really wipes me out. When I did have seizures on my wedding day, I literally was in hospital in the end for pretty much the whole day. So my phone's gonna die. One sec. As I was saying about the seizures, it literally, as I literally end up completely out of it, and feel very tired, don't want anyone touching me pretty much, and that was on the wedding day, in which I was in hospital for the whole day, the rest of the evening and a bit later on in that day. And pretty much is that with me, with the brain damage, I do forget things. So it's not intentionally that some things that someone says I then forget, or some things that I end up don't remember saying, or vice versa. It does affect that cognific. It's hard to describe, but certain words I can't even pronounce, and that's also linked with the brain damage, because it's so many things that fires. It's like literally with the brain waves and all of that stuff, it can trigger the seizure, because if you get overheated, if you end up so pretty much not sweating like on the outside, or just either way, the way I describe it is like having a kettle boiling and then that goes like that and then it pops. It's literally like that. But I have, with the seizures, there's all different types, but the ones I have is the convulsions, that you literally are aware of certain things and then next minute you're on the floor, collapsing, like shaking, jolting, pretty much. That's the partial word for it, but literally it's not nice. But with these kind of conditions, that obviously I'm also asthmatic. Mine's quite mild, to be honest. Certain things that doesn't help, obviously the pollen out there and stuff at the moment is fine. But I wanted to do a video because there's a lot of people doing disability awareness. Obviously I used to do that, but I wanted to share my story because there's a lot of people doing about disabilities and cerebral palsy, and obviously different things, different cerebral palsy and different with seizures and brain damage and stuff like that. It does do a lot of things. So certain things can trigger the seizure, like an example, not eating properly, oversleeping, undersleeping, so you're not sleeping well, which is most of my time, but I am actually okay, and not taking your meds, which you sometimes forget, even though I'm more onto it now. What else is there? There's a few other things that I can't think of right now, but it's just actually there's one thing, sorry. It's trying to remember all certain things, but it's like when you get intense conversations, your brain is really working itself. It's when you get like, you're very passionate towards the subject like this, but I'm actually okay at the moment, but when you get passionate about a subject, it does hurt your brain afterwards. It's like, it really works your brain. So pretty much the way I would describe the whole thing in the brain is literally firing up literally areas that doesn't like, I can't describe what it's called, because I can't remember what it's called. I delightfully already done, that's the annoying thing about it. I know what it is, but I can't think of how to say it, as well as how to express how to say it. But I'm living with cerebral palsy, seizures and brain damage, which is linked with the cerebral palsy. I'm also asthmatic. I've had my right ear reconstructed twice, but that's a different story, and not linked to any of these conditions. But I wanted to share my story, and if you have any questions that you would like to ask me, feel free, and I will respond to them as best as I can. but that is the best way of me describing my disability.